Welcome to another episode of The Pickpocket. Here at The Pickpocket, we utilize the NBA category in the Fanduel app to help you win money. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and also be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to read this notice right here. Very important so you can understand this presentation. Mock lineup. Feel free to use 90% of a mock lineup we provide to you guys as a base and substitute players where you see fit to get your own taste for your own lineup. McConnell continues to impress. He is scoring and assisting well. Great value option here. Brooklyn's defense is historically bad. It's historically atrocious. It's historically abysmal. Whatever word you could think of, they're awful. Even when they beat teams, the opposing players have solid games. Fox should find plenty FDP with assists to go with his scoring. Bradley Beal might be on the worst team, but he is by far one of the best players. A ton of his FDP is scoring, but lacking a true point guard, he may step in for assists and some rebounds. Eric Gordon is not our favorite pick to make because his FDP is scoring dependent, but it's Washington. Like we've said in previous videos, Eric Gordon, if he's not scoring field goals, if he's not hitting shots, his FDP really suffers a lot, but because he's going against Washington, anything can happen because Washington's defense is atrocious as well. Ingles continues to fill in for Conley and playing extremely well. Philly is a tough opponent, but they are middle of the pack in FDP allowed to small forwards. Anticipate a good game and a good night from them. Kelly Oubre is on the glass like crazy lately. Pair that with his scoring and ability to sniff out blocks, he should continue his 30 FDP streak. Patrick Williams is the fill-in. Not the best matchup, but he can contribute solid FDP. Serge Ibaka must be anxious for this matchup. It's possible no Kawhi or Paul George, and that means more looks for him versus the bottom-ranked defense versus power forwards. Clint Capella has a mean matchup advantage versus New York. He should go for his average easily. Player per game lineup. We addressed this last video he was in. Brogdon sneaks his good FDP. You watch the game and nothing pops out. You then see 30 to 40 FDP. He does it all. You know, we watch a lot of his games and we still wonder how he racks up this FDP, but he does a little of everything. It's not too flashy, but he gets the job done. Darius Garland has cooled off since his blazing start. Here's a chance to do better versus a Golden State team that's still finding its way this year. We don't anticipate a blowout, so he will have plenty chances to get his FDP average. Kevin Huerter rebounds and assists well. It's when he's on fire that makes him even more dangerous. He already shoots well, but he can hit stretches where he can't miss. New York isn't a defensive juggernaut, so that can definitely help him as well. Harden versus Sacramento, he won't have Durant. Only way he doesn't get 50 FDP is him choosing to coast. Even when he shoots bad, he gets to the line. He gets to the free throw line like 20 times a game, and he's going to rack up those assists and get a few boards. We expect Harden to have a very solid game. Anderson is the value pick here. Don't expect anything too crazy, but versus Cleveland, he could get into the 20s with his scoring and rebounding. As far as FDP, he could get into the 20s as far as FDP. Marcus Morris may see more time with the two stars possibly out. Miami is bottom of the league in FDP allowed to power forwards. Should be a good game as well. Harris does well already. If Embiid sticks, Tobias, like his scoring and rebounds, will definitely go up. Rudy Gobert. My boy Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert has been unfazed by the matchup. He did exceptional versus Milwaukee. Philly could be without Embiid, but even with him, he should get his average at least. Game stack lineup. Philly versus Utah. You got Simmons, Ingles, Harris, and my boy Gobert. Each of these guys should have a good FDP game based on the matchup. This is the two best teams in the league by record. One out of these four there should be over 200 FDP. Something to really think about. Sexton can help keep this game close if he is aggressive and stays out of foul trouble with Steph. He can score with them and also fill in the rest of the stat sheet. Harris should fill in nicely for Durant. If they want to hurt Sacramento for doubling Harden or Kyrie, he will have to be locked in. His average is very in reach. Stop what you're doing right now. Subscribe to the channel. I don't want to have to do anything crazy. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. What on earth are you waiting for? Good matchup lineup. This lineup is meant to show you who has the best matchups tonight at each position, meaning the opposing team ranks bottom of the league in FDP allowed. You can sub them with teammates who are cheaper as well. Feel free to look at this good matchup lineup. Alright, the rest of this presentation, you're going to see these symbols. The definitions of these symbols are going to do a lot of the explaining for you. Feel free to take a picture of this particular page or rewind the video. Whatever you want to do is fine with us. Just make sure you know what the definitions of these symbols are. Cheat sheet. This is a star player lineup. Star players we believe will have the best night at the position, not named LeBron. And that's, of course, hoping that they stay out of foul trouble and other basketball factors that can happen. Secondary stars. Players who are not the main star and typically cost less than the main star. These guys produce well and should have good nights next to the main guy. Randall is the main star, but we like Sabonis and Harris over him because of the chance of Embiid sitting. Very important there. Cheat sheet. Value plays. Value players to help your lineup with costly players, less than 6K. This is the end of the presentation. Be sure to like the video. Please be sure to comment any questions or concerns you may have, and please subscribe to the channel. And thank you for choosing another episode of the Pickpocket DFS.